Welcome to In 5 Minutes. In this video clip, we will discuss one very famous application of amplitude modulation in the form of vestigial sideband transmission. In short, it is called VSB transmission, vestigial sideband. We have discussed two very important versions of AM system. One was double sideband suppressed carrier and other one was a single sideband suppressed carrier. The major advantage of the single sideband modulation is that it reduces the bandwidth requirement to half as compared to double sideband modulation. But SSB signals are relatively difficult to generate due to the difficulty in isolating the desired sideband. If you remember, we had used methods like filter method. The filter must have a very sharp cutoff characteristics, particularly when the modulating signal contains very low frequencies in its frequency band. Low frequencies in the information signal would mean there is a lot of information around the carrier frequency Fc, and in that case, to remove one of the two sidebands, you should be very careful. You should not be attenuating even a small part of the desired sideband. So you need a filter with very sharp cutoff frequencies. Now, often TV and telegraph signals have a lot of information in low frequencies, and hence such a difficulty is overcome by VSB modulation, which is a compromise between single sideband and double sideband modulation. So let's try to understand what exactly we do in vestigial sideband or VSB modulation. What we have right now shown on the screen is nothing but a valid frequency spectrum of a TV station. We are going to consider television application of vestigial sideband. In VSB modulation, the desired sideband is allowed to pass completely, whereas a part of the undesired sideband is also allowed as shown in the figure. Now, a part of the undesired sideband is also called vestige, and hence we give this modulation the name vestigial sideband. You can see entire upper sideband is taken in the output. This vertical line which you can see is nothing but the carrier frequency. So this is my carrier frequency point Fc. Everything on the right hand side of Fc is nothing but upper sideband, which is taken completely. But you can see a very small part of the lower sideband is also allowed to enter. Now, because of this, I do not need very sharp cutoff of the filter immediately after the carrier frequency Fc. Now the cutoff characteristics of filter will be a little bit away from Fc because we are allowing a small part of lower sideband also to come at the output side. Because of this, even if there is attenuation of any frequencies, it will be of the lower sideband spectrum and not of any of the frequencies from upper sideband. Imagine if we did not allow a part of the lower sideband, if we wanted to take only the upper sideband and nothing from lower sideband, then we must have the filter characteristics which go something like this. Now, in such a case, you can see in this low frequencies of upper sideband, the frequencies which are towards the carrier frequency, there will be attenuation of this frequency, and this attenuation will result in loss of low frequency information, which is something is not desirable in case of TV signals or telegraph signals. So the total part of the signal that comes at the output is entire upper sideband and very small part of the lower sideband, and hence we give it a new name. This whole modulation system, we call it VSB transmission. Now let us take some practical values and discuss one complete TV signal. A TV signal which uses VSB modulation. You can see any TV signal will consist of two types of information signals. One will be the video signal and one will be the sound signal. So basically the video signal will use the amplitude modulation, and to be precise, it will use vestigial sideband modulation. So you can see video upper sideband is taken completely at the output side, and a very small part of the video lower sideband is also taken. If we start from 0 units, you can see from 0 to 0.5 is the margin kept for the filter characteristics to come down to 0 completely. From 0.5 to 1.25 is a small part of the lower sideband, which is called vestige, is taken at the output side. From 1.25 units till 5.25 is your complete upper sideband.